The secret to good photography may well be enjoying yourself. It certainly works for nature photographer Ian Jeanneret. He quit the rat race to travel and take photos. And the result is all good, as Lucy Shannon found out.
A few years ago, Ian Jeanneret was working behind a desk in an office and suffering depression. Then he got an offer he couldn't refuse.
I was here in Hobart. I had about 10 days' notice that the sailing trip was coming up, and if I could go, I was welcome to join them for a 4-month cruise. And so to suddenly be transplanted from Hobart to sitting in the back of a truck at a police post in the Galapagos Islands, I guess it made me just think about life and think about what I was doing.
He'd always had a passion for photography, ever since he ran reels backwards and forwards between the ABC and a laboratory in the days of film. That had eventually led to a decade spent as a commercial photographer, but it never felt quite right.
I guess I'd always seen photography as an itinerant profession. I'd always felt that, if you couldn't do anything else, you went and did photography. It was something that anybody could turn their hand to. But I guess as more and more people started to say, wow, you start to realise that you are actually seeing things differently.
His experience on the wildlife-rich Galapagos Islands made things crystal clear. And it all started with a couple of stray dogs.
I saw these dogs and I loved the fact that they were just soaking up the sun, enjoying it, and, I guess the dog's life thing. I've always had this silly notion that I love food and I love sleeping, and so do dogs, and so we had something in common. So it was a bit of a moment for me. I've got to just slow down. I've got to live the life that I want to live. I've got to just enjoy being creative, enjoy being who I am, stop trying to be something else, stop trying to prove myself, and just enjoy what I do.
And so Stray Dog Photos was born. The photographer started to incorporate travel with work. Europe, the Pacific, the Caribbean, South America, New Zealand and Australia all feature in Ian Jeanneret's photos. The Galapagos Islands had a special impact.
I love the blue-footed boobies. They just have so much personality and so much character. They have a funny little mating ritual where they sort of strut around each other and they do this high-step walk, but they never make eye contact. So they kind of dance around each other but don't actually make eye contact with each other. Certainly my style is that I like to zoom in on things. I like to crop out all the rubbish, anything that's unnecessary to the image or to what I'm seeing. I try and eliminate out of the picture. I don't do that with Photoshop. I just simply do it by trying to, crop out the unnecessary bits. And I guess that marks my style as a photographer.
While the travel's important, being at home in Tasmania inspires the creativity too.
I saw this wedge-tail actually fly down and land on a fence. So I stopped the car and tried to take a few shots, and he was a little bit far away, and then it was just good fortune that really he flew towards a dead tree in the middle of the paddock, and I was already stopped and had the camera there ready, so I was lucky enough to get it. So a lot of shots there's a fair amount of luck involved. I'm absolutely passionate about Tasmania. I love it. I feel really intimate with Tasmania. I've sailed right around the island, I've bushwalked all over it, I've skied it, I've swum it, I've dived it, and so I do feel very close to Tassie. It's still the natural landscape that appeals to me most, but I love a sense of history. I love, but more an earthy sense of history. I'm more interested in rural landscapes and that sort of thing than say towns. I very rarely photograph people. I just don't feel comfortable photographing people. In fact, I tend to wait until all the people are gone before I take photos. I actually get a bit shy about taking photos, so it's easier for me to photograph landscapes.
The time spent watching and capturing nature has led to a passion for conservation.
I'm part of a group called Nature Photographers Tasmania, and it's at this stage an informal group that comprises pretty much all of the wilderness photographers in Tasmania. We feel that we're the people who communicate Tasmania or the wilderness of Tasmania. So we all feel fairly strongly about conservation. We all feel that we have something quite precious here. When people talk about, this is beautiful or that's beautiful, it's only because, a lot of the time it's only because they've actually seen our photos.
Beautiful. That's Stateline for this week. Thanks for your company and good night.